Subscribe to Rootstem Gaming before the 15th of December for your chance to win this painted Ahriman figure. Welcome to Rootstem Gaming, and this is painting Ahriman the Red Sorcerer. So as usual, I've based the actual unit and sprayed it black. I'm going to start by, I've kept the cloak separate as well, because this actually makes it a lot easier to be able to paint. And we're going to start by painting the arm plates, the ones that's going to be the actual armour itself. I may mask a little bit, and we're going to paint those silver to begin. So lead belcher in the pot, that's actually going to go on first. Next is going to be Stormhorse Silver. I was going to say Methyl Silver, which is the old colour, but Stormhorse Silver just across the top, just to give it a highlight. So once that's kind of dry, you'll get a nice little shaded effect. Then we're going to use the X23 from Tamiya. Now, make sure you use these in a well ventilated area. You also need the X20A thinner, because normal thinners won't work with this. You got to make sure as well that you've got quite a large needle point, 0.5 or greater, and you've got a good pressure. This stuff stinks, and I mean stinks, it's alcohol based. It'll create a fantastic candy red, but man is it smelly, and it can give you a bit of an headache. So make sure that you're in a well ventilated area, possibly use a mask if you can. Try and use gloves, because it does become incredibly sticky on your hands, and it's not the most pleasant, but it gives the best effect for this type of figure. So next up, we're going to be painting the areas that we're wanting to be black back up. So of course it's going to be his staff, and maybe some of the little tiny bits such as that. Just remember that you will have to do a Duncan and the 2 thin coats on this. So next up, I'm going to use some lead belcher. I'm just going to basically paint in all the areas that require it to be silver, but I'm also going to paint in some of the areas I'm wanting to be like an electric blue. I'm going to use some nylon oxide on it later, just to try and give it a bit of a sheen. Next I'm going to paint in some of the other armour pieces and recesses using Retributor armour. So we're going to be doing a couple of inks now. Still call them inks, old school shades. Got some Noir for the silver, and we're going to use gloss for the actual gold parts, just to sort of give it the recessed shade. And then we'll come in and do some highlights. So next up I'm going to do the robes. They're going to be Talan sand. I'm going to use a wet palette, homemade, to get up to Carrick stone, maybe even a little bit lighter with a bit of white. That's what I'm going to actually do the robes in. Right. So now I'm mixing the Carrick stone and the Talan sand in the pot, and we're just gonna, after giving it, I did give it 2 coats, and we're just gonna, of course, just try and build up those layers now, adding more and more Carrick stone until we get the desired effect. To finish off the robe, I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of Ushabti bone to the Carrick stone, just to create a nice little highlight, and then we're going to actually go over it. I'm going to do an edge highlight here, and then we're going to go over it with Agraf's Earthshade. So we're going to bring it up, and then we're going to bring it back down again. So I changed that Seraphim Sepia because it's a bit of a lighter tone. So using an old small brush, yeah, oh sorry, I'm going to put some Necron compound dry. That's going to go on the silver, and a little bit of it I'm going to try and crease onto the edges of the actual gold itself. Don't know why I'm shaking it up, it's a dry paint. For my next step, these little tiny, if it'll focus, these little nodules here on the helmet and on the blade, I'm going to paint in alternating colours from Moot Green. Apologies for the camera, why are you just not focusing? There we go. Moot Green and Techless Blue. Don't want to pronounce that one wrong, do we? Right, so what I'm going to be doing now is we're going to be using Nylock Oxide. I'm going to put it into some of the recesses of these and possibly up in the blade. This is just to make it look like it's got some form of warp glow. Now for the beads down here, I'm going to use Screaming Bell. Once that's actually dry, I'm going to use another Agrax shade gloss just to sort of give it a bit of a recess, maybe even a bit of a dry brush again with the silver. Marine at the bottom, I'm going to paint up in, it's going to have to be a Space Wolf, isn't it? You know, it's got to be. But whatever sort of scheme you're wanting to do, that's possibly going to be the best way of doing the guy at the bottom. So I've added a bit of Guilliman glaze as well inside these parts, just so that it can become more defined. And of course you can pick out more of the actual symbols. It's coming along. It's not the greatest, of course, because all my painting always tends to be tabletop quality, but now I'm going to have to get on with the backpack and we're going to do some airbrushing on this cloak. So we are going to be starting with Carrick Stone in the airbrush, and we're going to be doing, of course, the cloak the same way that we did the robes on the other figure. Next on the cloak we are going to use Carrick Stone, just layering it on top of the Talan sand, and I'm going to take that off and of course try and give myself a thinner nozzle. And finally, use Shabty bone just a little tiny bit. I'm going to try and keep it thin as I possibly can, and then making sure that I'm just catching the edges to give it that lovely highlight. So next up, I'm just going to coat the now dry cloak in Seraphim Sepia to dull it back down again. There you have it. This is effectively a finished figure. Of course, I've done the basing, double basing however you want to do. Just let the Seraphim Sepia dry. If you wish to give it another dry brush, maybe with some Tyrant Skull or some more Shabty bone, you can do. That should give it the final finished product. I'm going to be giving this away as well for subscribers. So if you're already subscribed, don't worry about it. You're automatically entered. And if you're not subscribed, if you subscribe before the 15th of December, you're going to be entered into the prize draw. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.